Hello, we're in Chicago for this year's ISDA annual general meeting. As the event gets started, I'm here with ISDA Chairman Eric Litvack and ISDA CEO Scott Amalia. Scott, Eric, welcome to a very sunny Chicago.
Thanks, Nick.
Now, a prominent theme on the agenda at this year's AGM is the regulatory and market response to the various liquidity events that we've experienced over the past couple of years. Can you give some context as to what will be discussed? Eric, I'll start with you.
Well, sure. If you go back over the past 3 years, there's been a number of fairly acute shocks, and even leaving aside the more recent banking crisis, which is probably more traditional in its context. If you go back to 2020, there was a massive dash for cash at the beginning of the COVID pandemic. After the Russian invasion of Ukraine early last year, there was upheaval in the energy markets. Late last year, there was significant upheaval in the gilts markets due to the pensions and LTI crisis. All of these followed the pattern of an acute market shock, resulting in liquidity stress, and then knock-on effects that required public sector intervention. And that's leading to a book of work at the international level, reviewing margin practices, liquidity, leverage, and those are some of the issues that we expect to see discussed in the panels during the conference.
Okay, Scott, Eric talked about some of the regulatory package of work. Can you talk a little bit about what market participants are doing in this space?
When you talked about reviewing the margining practices, that's where we're going to start. Looking at SIM to make sure that it's risk appropriate. We've done the testing and validation and review. We do think it's risk appropriate and is holding up well against all these events that he's articulated. We're going to continue to work with regulators to make sure that they agree with that assessment and show them the math that we've come to. We're also going to look at the collateral process writ large, because I think that's an operating system that is way in need of an upgrade. And so we're going to really look at and boil down better practices, improvements that can be made using digital solutions that can streamline that process, making it much more efficient and much more cost effective.
Now, of course, it's not just all about market stresses. There are a number of huge topics on the agenda this year, from ESG to regulatory reporting to LIBOR to capital. What sessions are you particularly looking forward to and why? Scott, start with you.
I think some of the things around capital are going to be very interesting. We have the Basel rules coming up. Those are very important. That's where all the money is, as they say. I'm looking forward to some new solutions around voluntary carbon markets and making sure we upgrade those as well and having that discussion. I'm going to be moderating a panel of exchange leaders, and I'm really looking forward to kind of discussing things around the debt limit, changes in trading practices, to reference some of the liquidity events that Eric's talked about. So those are some of the questions I'm going to be asking. Of course, I will be attending because I'm moderating, but it's going to be an interesting debate.
And Eric, for you, what are the not to be missed sessions?
So there's a lot of interesting panels. A couple I spotted that I've got my eye on that cover the issues we're discussing just now. In terms of non-bank financial intermediation, in terms of the trade-off between counterparty credit risk and liquidity risk. But I've also got my eye on an issue you mentioned, which is regulatory reporting, because that's an issue that ISDA's been spending a lot of time and intellectual capital on in the past couple of years to try and help the market along onto common digital solutions for reporting to accompany the regulatory timelines that are coming live from late last year and over the next couple of years.
Now, Scott, one final question to you. You actually grew up near Chicago. If AGM delegates have time to just do one thing over the next couple of days, what do you suggest we should do?
I am from Michigan, so the Great Lakes are very special assets. We love them. If the weather's great, go down by the lake. Alternative, get a Cubs game. They're in town all week, and Wrigley Field's an awesome place to watch a baseball game.
Fantastic. Scott, Eric, enjoy the AGM.
Thanks, Nick.